How's it going, YouTube? Warsmith Garrett here. One of my customers is taking a little longer than expected, so I'm shooting this video early. Maybe I'll get a call halfway through and have to dip out to get to driving. Maybe not. Might get all the way done. They're kind of taking their sweet time. I rewatched some of my videos and I realized you guys are looking at my desk as being completely upside down because for whatever reason my phone's camera doesn't flip it back over when I flip the stand down. So I fixed that. I'm just doing this and then I'm gonna set it in the anyway, on to this Dark Angels captain. That wasn't so hard. Now you guys are actually seeing what I'm seeing. So that's good. And you're seeing this all from the correct angle. So that's even better. Anyway, let's turn up the brightness here. Turn it down just a little bit. And let's get to painting. And so last night we got to about done with the cape, at least on the inside. The outside still needs work, obviously, but the inside, I like that shading. I'm very happy with that. So what we're going to go ahead and do, because the instructions this part right here shows how you want to put the pauldron and the cape on in one, and then you want to put that other pauldron on. So that's what we're gonna do. I should put the arm on. Although the arm I have reservations about because it's gonna be tricky with the feed chute. So what we're gonna do first, just because we know how we're supposed to do this, we're gonna do the pauldron and the cape. And then we're going to do the backpack. So, first things first, we gotta okay. Got that. I'm going to take one of my files and I'm going to not that one. I don't use any like advanced files or anything. It's a very basic file kit you can get from most most hobby stores. Comes with like 10 of them. You get round files, flat files, angled files. And yeah, basically all I'm doing is I'm taking the paint off of here, because that's what is going to interfere with marrying up to his back. Put the backpack on. See, it's mostly the face of this little lip here, so file that down a little bit. Now, you don't have to do this this way. If you want to just build it and then spray it all and paint it all, that's probably easier than doing all this, all things considered. But sometimes I'm a little silly Billy and I do things out of order. Gotta see here, I'm just kind of spreading it around on this lip. That'll be, yeah. Alright. Take those. I'm going to put this pauldron on before anything else, that way that'll make all this a lot easier. Yeah, so you put the pauldron on, make sure that the cape matches up to the clasp there. I didn't put enough inside on here. Okay, fine. Yeah, make sure that the edge of the cape matches up to the clasp on his chest, because that clasp's whole purpose is to hold the cape. Okay, so then now we stick the cape on and boom, that's on there. We're going to stick him face down just so that the cape doesn't go anywhere. Then we're going to take the backpack, glue on the rims there. Yeah, we're just going to stick that right on there. Hold the cape, hold the pauldron, and the backpack. Ah, okay, we gotta negotiate it on there, but yeah, there we go. And look at that. We have the cape underneath the backpack, which frankly seems kind of counterintuitive. Like, I feel like that would be annoying to have your cape under your backpack. Maybe that's just me. You know, with my extensive experience with wearing capes and or backpacks. I do have quite a bit of experience with backpacks, but I've never worn a cape under mine, so yeah. Alright. Next, we should finish up that rope. Okay. belcher a bit. Or not lead belcher, iron warrior. And touch up the linkage between his belt rope and this. That's not exactly perfect, I'll be honest. I don't love that transition. Just putting that greave on kind of shoved that out of the way a little bit. But I mean, if we didn't do anything that wasn't perfect, we wouldn't. There's a lot of stuff we just wouldn't do at all. So, I'm not saying it's okay that it's bad. It's just, it's gonna have to be okay that it's bad for right this second. So I'm using a lead belcher on the sword. Just because I have some ideas that I want to do with the sword, and sword done in lead belcher, and we're going to do that in lead belcher for a reason, because we're going to come back in with some other metals and some effects, which is part of why this shit is over here on my tray. But my tray palette, I don't recommend using your tray as a palette, but it works for me. It's not necessarily the best you can get. Like I said, it works for me. But, you know, if you think it looks like shit, then just don't do it yourself. Do something else. Anything I do that you don't necessarily like the look of, you don't have to replicate my technique if you don't want to. But yeah, I mean, there's a certain school of thought that says if you want to learn to paint like me, then start by painting like me. But I also make a lot of mistakes, as you've probably already noticed. For instance, how these feet, I have to come back and retouch them as little pieces. See how that likes to... I always forget I gotta do that. You know what? It'll look like if I just do that. Yeah. I think maybe I'll just do that. Paint. Yummy, delicious, nutritious paint. Next we're going to do this arm, and now come back. Okay, well, I guess I'll put those back in a bit. Yeah, see, this is why I didn't want to put the arm on with the backpack and stuff, just because it's... You see the situation we're in right now? Alright, I'm going to let this dry. And then I'm also going to pick some of this glue shit out of here and off of here. Yeah, glue, paint, bullshit. That's always a recipe for success. I can do some work on the cape while we wait for that. Mostly just going to do like the join between the pauldron and the cape there. Just that doesn't look so disjointed. And
and then come back and hit it all with some happy Caliban. Remind me I gotta do the jewel on the pommel of the sword. Actually, don't remind me. I'm gonna do it now. After I do Nocturne. Green. Okay. Nope, that's Deathcore Drab. That's different. There we go. Nocturne Green. I don't know that I would use that for salamanders, but I do know I would probably use it for a camo paint. Or maybe like a really dark looking orc. Yeah, I could see that. A real like dark, grungy orc. You know what I mean? Of course you guys know what I mean. You guys know what all of my ramblings are about. Probably do that part in Caliban. But yeah, one thing I like to do with this is I like to try to like sculpt the shadows around this. And I think that looks really good. Yeah, you want the raised parts of the cape to be more Caliban or even warpstone. I should not have closed that one. That was the one I was going to use. Whereas the recessed parts, you'd want that to be a darker shade, like Nocturne. Sorry about the hum of my engine in the background. It's less than freezing here, and I haven't moved since last night, so there is a concern for my engine not being able to start back up. So I kind of have to keep it running because it's less than freezing, and that's not good for your battery. Although this truck is pretty good about thus far, I haven't really had any time. I haven't had any issues with cold conditions. It's never failed to start up. It's chugged a little bit, but it's never failed to start up for me. So. Said we're gonna do the gold, or not the gold, the the jewel on the pommel of his sword. That's what we're going to do. Up there. Okay. Doing red, I could do the lower and side trim of the cape, especially that part right there. Yeah, that's a good look. No. Yeah, okay. That's better. Again, wipe most of it off before you start putting it on there. Put it on there very nice and detailed. You shouldn't have too many issues. Not like how I just did that. That was bad. Not like how I just did it again. Because that was also bad. I'm just leave that alone for right now. Maybe come back to it. Probably should have finished that up before I put the cape on the guy, but oh well. Alright. I do want to do those little wingtips on the ends of the cape, so I'm going to do those now. I also need to get my mold, so I'm going to use that for the dark parts of the cape. The green part. That up. Get a little bit over overspill with the green there. Not gonna do too much. Oh, dang. Just realized the cape over the pauldron needs some love too. Okay. I'll do this little tip down there on that before I do the cape over pauldron. Wipe most of that off there. Looks like crap. Okay. There we go. Okay, that wasn't supposed to happen. But oh well. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to go back over that with lead belcher. Now that I'm done with that part, I think I can. Probably. I'm just going to do the whole sword in another layer of lead belcher. At least the whole blade. Not the whole sword, obviously, but... Speaking of the whole sword, we're going to do the next part of the jewel on the pommel now. Hit that with some Evil Sun Scarlet. Yeah, that looks good. Alright. Oh, also, while we got the reds out, and now that I'm remembering, do the islands on the so it's got a piece there. I'm gonna paint it in this color. Oh, dang. Well, working on that, I spotted something else I need to touch up before I move on. Yeah, okay. That's better. Ish. Temple guard, yeah. This one's the baby blue I wanted. Alright. Some more lead belcher on this. So we're going to do the skull plate. Yeah, this whole thing's supposed to be like covered in metal shit. I didn't realize that until I looked at the box art. But it's fine. So it's all add-ons anyway. Okay. Now then, I said we were gonna do Nolan oil for a shader, and I meant it, so now we're doing that. We'll start with the part of the cloak that goes over his shoulder, and then we'll come back to it with more, because that's just going to darken that down a little bit, and that's good. That's what we like. Alright, I think that's good and dry for the most part. So now we're going to take So I'm going to hold that for a little bit, just so that has time to really seal to it, just because that's not a perfect hold on it. And yeah, I think that'll hold that on there. Get those guys out, we'll put that back on later. Now for this tilt shield, what we're going to do, because this guy is going to be captain of the 4th company. I know the box art shows him in regular Dark Angels colors, but
I don't like that. So, put him in Deathwing colors. This one probably use it for something. Here we go. So, yeah, alright. File that a little bit. So with regular Dark Angels colors, at least for Fourth Company, the way they do their markings is they do a quadrant on the shield. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm also going to do the quadrant around the edge, like on the rim and shit. Even though I don't necessarily have to do that, I want to, just because it'll make it look more zhuzhed up. Because this is supposed to be one of his decorative pieces. Drop that and let it cook for a little bit. Well, let it cool. More like, but yeah. So I'm gonna come in and take a little bit of creative liberty on some of this. Some of this kind of came off meh. Oh, yeah, gotta do some more on that. So yeah, I'll do that while I'm waiting on some of this stuff to dry. Oh no, I gotta fix that too. Oh, shit.
those soon. Serious. Whatever. Okay. Yet again. Here's Garrett being an idiot. Okay. New plan. I'm gonna put the glue on right there. That's where the pauldron wants to sit. The only place the pauldron wants to sit, so we'll put the glue on there. Yeah, great. We're good. Ish. Yeah. All right. Now then, let's get this out since we're being silly. Since we're already being silly, we may as well be a little bit sillier. Okay. Do the rim on this first, then paint in towards this. And yeah, I really like the way that looks. Looks pretty cash. I need a place to grip it though, so I'll come back to it in a minute. Now we're gonna do we're gonna apply the Nuln Oil shade on the cape. So because we want the Nuln Oil to sit in the recesses, we're gonna do this in stages. So put that in there. Like if I just stood him up, it would all run out to the bottom. That's not exactly what we want here. So that's why we're going to use the Nuln Oil to shade in stages. Yeah, we're going to let that sit for a bit. Meanwhile, I think this should be, and this is another reason that I like the airbrush paints, is because they kind of dry faster than most. Yeah, you see how that one section of Caliban green is already completely dry? That's why I brush on airbrush paints. Okay. I don't really think we have anything else to do up until then. We could shade this jewel. Shade on it. Finish that up with that. Now we did that. I think we could probably do. You know what? I'm gonna take some sticky tack. I don't know why I didn't do this before. So I'm taking some sticky tack here, putting it on the end of an old brush, one I don't particularly like. I'm going to stick the shield on that. And that way I can paint directly on the shield without having to hold the shield by one of its sides. Because that gets a little bit aggravating. Out. Sword in the middle of that in red. They are dark angels after all. painting with like the edge of the tip, just because I'm trying to get the sides on there specifically, because I'm actually going to paint the face of this sword with Evil Sun's Scarlet, because that's a little bit brighter. Come in and touch those up. Definitely went over a little bit in that one green area. Existential crisis here. I'm going through the. Come on. I'm gonna go through the transfer sheet just to make sure of something, because stuff needlessly difficult. Games Workshop. Okay, well, have to repaint that. No. Just wondering. Turn this up. Okay, it's on there nice and good. It's not going anywhere. But I am going to have to turn this on its side and do that again. I think I may have just wasted all that effort on the tilt shield, because the company markings I was putting on that shield are 5th Company markings. 5th Company is Master Lazarus's company. Now the Dark Angels are a little bit non-codex compliant in that they have more Marines per unit than everybody else, just like the Templars and everything, but I don't think they have 2 captains in the Dark Angels, which is why this is particularly annoying, because this guy is a captain who's supposed to be a Dark Angels captain of the 5th Company, and if he's a Dark Angels captain of the 5th Company, then would he be under Master Lazarus or what? So I need to. Dang it. I think I'm probably going to have to put this tilt shield down and put it on someone else, probably. You know what? I can at least finish it, because I'm going to do the... Glad I didn't do that on his knee. That shield looks really good too. Damn. Effort wasted. Oh well, at least it's not glued on there. That would be a real motherfucker. You don't even know how upsetty spaghetti that would make me. Alright, I think that's mostly dry. And if it runs a little bit, that's actually okay. Now then, we're going to get the dry brush ready to use on his cape. It's just like with that shield, we're going to use Warpstone Glow to highlight his cape. I'm going to use a slightly bigger brush just because that one's kind of paving. You want the real soft bristles, and once it stops being soft, you might consider changing out your dry brushes, which I am very strongly considering changing out my dry brushes, so yeah, for reference, the way you do that, see I've got paint on the brush, now I take paint, rub most of it off on the paper towel here. I think that's about an acceptable level. I'm being very careful with how I apply this, so I don't want too much on there. So only just like skim the edges there. Yeah, I like that. I think that looks really good. Again, to glue in the shells ejecting from his bolt gauntlet. Motherfucker. paint the inside of his hood, just like a slightly darker red. I'm going to use corn red here. I'm going to paint that. Slightly darker, so you know where his islands ends and his hood begins. Piston for the little islands on his cowl thing. Yeah, for his little iron hood. Now we use an Angron Red Air Clear on his Servo Skulls islands, and then also on his pommel jewel. We want that to be glossy and fancy looking. Most of the way done. So what we're going to do is we're going to touch up his cable first with Mephiston, because we are going to do that in it's not going to be in just red, it's going to be in red and black. Yeah, I know, I'm full of surprises, my loyal viewers. And you may have noticed we didn't do the sword yet. That's for a reason. But we should touch up the gun. Or the Bolt Storm Gauntlet. I want that to be a real nice, vibrant red like that. Silver. I don't know where that's at. My brain. Do you know white square? That's not white square. That's white square. I'm gonna use that too. You can probably hear me rustling around in here for my paints, and that's because I have a lot of paints, and I do recommend getting more paints as you go, just because it's, you know, not everything that you paint is going to be painted in the same colors as the last thing you painted. friend of mine, he has like 3 different armies, and he does them all in different paint schemes. 2 of them are different Space Marine armies. So that's even more headache for him. Because it's like, you know, you could just consolidate and keep them one army, and then you would only have to paint one army. Nah, that's too weak. It's weak sauce. He, while he's painting Warhammer, I guess also has to carry the boats and the logs. So everyone knows Warhammer is a competitive combat sport. That's why it's played by a lot of the least in-shape people that you know. That's not to say that there's no fit Warhammer players, but it's not exactly the focus of the game. In fact, there's a lot of Warhammer players that are off-put when someone is particularly muscly. You're not going to start doing push-ups mid-match, are you? Maybe. Sword, but that's just for right this second. It will be covered over. Do one little dash of Nolan oil on the skull device on his clasp, on his cape clasp. a reason people call Leadbelcher liquid talent, and that's because that's an accurate description of it. Like, you just put this stuff on and boom, you're talented. Doesn't work in every case, but for beginners, it's one of the first things I recommend that you pick up and learn how to use. Just because it can help cover over a lot of your mistakes. Because none of us are perfect. You know, we're all gonna make happy little accidents. But those happy little accidents can be easily covered over with just a dash of liquid talent. Okay. Now then, this. Same thing with this. Yeah, that's good. Okay. This model is mostly done, but you gotta do his company marking on his knee. That's good. With his company being 5th company, that's one of the hardest markings to do. Or not 5th company, 4th company, that's one of the hardest markings to do. Because they just made it needlessly hard for no good reason. So yeah, the company marking I thought I was doing was this one. This one is really easy. This is the one I'm going to have to do. And I don't know how I'm going to do that. I think first things first, I'm going to paint a line through the center, and then I'm going to start on the squares. GW, why do you do this to me? What did I ever do to you? Okay. After that, break out the old Abaddon black. Let's pour this. We're going to paint white first, just because it's going to make everything a lot easier. We're going to paint the whole knee pad white. white, or I use air paints for this reason. You see how it's like kind of not exactly flat? Well, I don't necessarily have to worry about that because I'm using air paints. If I was using regular paints, that would be a problem. Because I'd basically be adding texture to it, which is a big no-go. You don't want to do that. But I don't have to worry about it because I'm using air paints. And they're naturally pre-thinned. Come off a little bit. Smear it around, take a little bit off. Okay. In the meantime, I can do that little belt thing some more. Purity seal's good on there. Add another layer of Nuln Oil to the sword. Stripes on the cables. touch it up a little bit, but I think that's pretty good. Especially the parts on the outside, because that's where it's going to be the most visible, but I wonder why it shut down. Did it get above freezing? It's a bit concerning, but okay. White for this knee pad, and then I think I'm going to touch up the metal cables, like the shielded cables, a little bit. Ow, 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 Charlie horse. Fucking awesome. So, and the feed chute, I'm going to do that too. So, you saw me do those in that color. Now, we're going to come back with lead belcher. Yeah, that's more like it. Now we're going to go over these blocks for the feed chute. And use lead belcher to just brighten those up a little bit. Not too much, especially not on those, because it's like, well, they wouldn't be that bright. Really only on the parts you can see, because that's where it would be bright. The rest of it can kind of be dull, and that's fine. Just gonna brighten up the ejection port on the gauntlet with lead belcher. And then I'm going to cover over this little mistake I made with some choice application of lead belcher on this shielded cable here. Yeah, I think that's really good. And I also like how that sword looks. Like, I don't know if you guys can see that on there, but yeah, I think the Nuln oil over that really makes it pop. Next, what we're gonna do for the sword, a couple things. One, we need our detail brush. We do these in these little doodads here. Oh no. That was too much. So we're going to put it on the tip, and then we're just going to run it up this little rod on here. And then we're also going to wipe most of it off. We're going to do the blade's edge. And then we're also going to do that along this part here. I don't know what this part is called. I'm not that kind of a nerd. And that's not like a dig at nerds. That's not the kind of nerd that I am. Okay. And then on to shading the sword. First thing is I'm going to use Aethermatic Blue on this. So I'm going to shade it along here. We're actually going to go here. I should probably shade this part and this part. And this part. And then on the opposite side, we're going to do pretty much the opposite. So where it ends here, pick up here. Okay. That's not exactly awesome looking, but let's level it out a little bit. You know what? I think I don't like that. I'll wipe as much of this off as I can. Let that dry for a little bit. Meanwhile, I can work on this knee pad, because that is going to be a complicated process. Alright, so okay. Alright, so you see I divided it in half there. Now I'm making a square here. Yeah, so I cut the knee pad in half. I'm making this square piece here. be honest, I thought this was going to be more difficult. Now, that's not to say it's not a little bit of a challenge, but like, I thought this was going to be a real motherfucker. And it's kind of coming out pretty easy. Of course, I'm going to say that and then make a huge mistake and the whole thing's fucked up and I got to start from scratch. That would be my luck. Yeah, I don't know. I think I kind of cooked with that. I'd touch it up a little bit, obviously, but... Damn. I did pretty good with that. Touch up that little bit there. That there. Take that all the way out to the end there. That looks pretty good. Okay. I'm gonna just clean up the rim around that. I think I'm ready to go with that. Oh, damn. Yeah, that cooked. Okay. That done. Work on the sword. But I'm going to touch up a lot of that with good old trusty lead belcher. Alright. Now then, let's start doing the power on the power sword. The power on the power sword, you ask. What is that? So I have a very thin gauge piece of wire. I get it from... let me find it.
So what I... Not that one. Please stand by. We're having a here it is. So I normally take this and I'll cut the cable and then I'll extract these. Actually, I just got a text from my boss, so maybe we're done here.